But one random henchman thought it would be a good idea to lay down in the driveway on his back and like tilt his head up and shoot, and he just gets blown away. It's like Munch. I was like, why was he doing that?
Dude,
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, dude, fuck that shit. Listen to this. The dudes are like rolling up in cars and they don't have time to park, so they just roll out. And I'm like, that makes no fucking sense.
It's like River City Ransom or something.
Yeah. It's like, what? This makes no fucking sense. What the fuck was with the bomb that like blew up on the car? It's like ridiculous. The guy's like, hey! And it like fucking blows up. It's like the guy like goes fucking insane and then fucking the bomb blows up. Yeah. This is my first note about this guy being horrible. This main guy is like a robot, no emotion. His wife just died. What the shit? We're here.
Whoa.
Actually, let me listen to this real quick.
Hello?
Talk for a bit.
I'll be talking, but just for a bit. I'll be talking.
Damn it. Now it's fucking super auto repeat. Good, man. I'm doing awesome. How about you?
Pretty good.
What is this? This is the Buddy Shots podcast, episode 82. And this is Mitch Week. Just kidding. It's Mike Week. We have a Buddy Shot shout out. Somebody redeemed one the other day when I was streaming. So we have to give a shout out to F Heterol. So thank you for following the channel and thank you for redeeming the shout out.
Cool.
Yeah. Also want to thank everyone that watches these episodes, comments, likes, shares on YouTube and stuff. We're just having fun, and I'm happy that people are finding it fun to watch. As I would assume you would too. You're like, I hate it.
I'm unhappy about it.
You're like, fuck you. My opinions are my own. And if someone agrees with me, I'm pissed. So, weird watches this week. We've got Earth Final Conflict, a Gene Roddenberry production, and for the feature presentation, it is The Killer, John Woo, Chow Yun-fat.
Nice.
So there's no real big there's no big taglines for this week, except for one that I wanted to share. We kind of talked about this, about cutting back, all that kind of crap, but like, one of the things that I was like, you know, if something looks funny or whatever, but like this week, there's one that I found that's like a flat out lie. The biggest body count in history. I was like, not even close.
Was it at the time? Did you do the research?
Well, fucking, like, the Holocaust had already happened.
Well, they were probably referring to, like, movie body count.
Right, but they didn't say that. They just said in history.
All right.
They're like, fuck you, Napoleon!
You got him on technicality. Now watch it, counselor.
It's just true. Now watch it, counselor! These bodies can be taken to the morgue at any time. I don't know. I actually didn't look it up, but I would assume there probably was films that came out before this that had more people killed.
For some reason, I thought that Hard Boiled had the record when that came out, because I think it's higher than The Killer, but I'm not. I'd have to put in the man hours to do the research.
Then again, didn't like Rambo already come out, or no, like 2?
I would imagine the body count's higher in these.
Really?
Especially Hard Boiled.
Yeah.
But it's pretty high in The Killer too.
Yeah. True. So I wanted to do you mind if in the edit I insert that Jurassic Park clip you sent me, because it's like the funniest thing that you've ever sent me?
Yeah, I don't mind, although after I finished that movie, I realized it's probably the best of the 3 new ones. The Jurassic World. I mean, I didn't hate it. It was pretty bad, but the other 2 were worse. So take that for what it's worth. Having said that, I'll insert it right now.
You were at Jurassic World.
Jurassic World? Not a fan.
Yeah, me either.
And we're back. Hopefully you enjoyed.
That was hilarious.
I know. I was like, man.
But that movie, just real quick, not to go off on a rant here, but like, The acting is so bad in that movie. And it's funny because like we've seen these same actors
in better
play
shit.
the same characters in other movies that are good. It's like the director got horrible performances out of these actors, and like the main villain is one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a movie that was like released in theaters. Like it's shocking. I don't know. Like
I didn't even know there was a villain.
Crazy. Yeah.
I guess they had a villain in the other ones too. Like for some reason,
I was like, I could barely watch because I was so embarrassed.
You were watching through like a blind that you set up inside your house, or maybe you were outside your house looking in, like peeking in, because you were so embarrassed.
But it's not all the actor's fault because like the writing was horrible too. Like no actor could have done a good job, but like it's just really bad.
Yeah, the dialogue was probably not the greatest.
But anyways,
I just thought it was funny. So enjoy that, everybody. Are you ready to move on to our first segment?
Yes.
This just in, nerd news, hot off the presses.
You hear about this?
So originally I was gonna use the story with Carl Urban wanting to come back as Judge Dredd, which I think we both liked, and I was like, oh, that's legit, because I guess he's doing like press right now for like The Boys season whatever. And but I saw another article that was even more shocking to me. I guess that's not shocking, it's awesome, but it's actually after something that we both saw in theaters, and I never thought I would see this, but they're making R.I.P.D. 2 Rise of the Damned, and it's going to be a Universal Pictures home entertainment release, which, if I'm not mistaken, is exactly what they're doing with the Rob Zombie Monsters. Like, that same company that's like that home kind of deal for Universal is doing it, and I was like, what the hell? Like, why? But I think that's what they've been doing with all their properties that they have. They'll be like, what do we have in the wings that we can make like a easy home release of? You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my god. But I just thought that was shocking.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah, because we saw it in theaters and was like, man, this is a piece of shit.
Can we stop using Rise of as the tagline in movies? Like, it's so cliched at this point. Like, it's like, come on.
I know. The Rise of Machines, so disgusting.
It's the Damned.
Whenever I hear them use Rise of in a movie, the only thing that rises in me is the bile from my stomach.
Nice. It's like the new...
You were like, oh shit, what's he gonna say?
Back in like the 80s, it was always like someone's revenge.
Yeah, vengeance or
like
yeah.
Rise of. Because we're doing Origins now.
Rise of? It's like... Fuck off. Rise of the fuck off. That's what we're gonna do. So, what's your nerd news?
I just have a quick one, and it's super nerdy, and probably no one cares except me.
But it's nerd.
More complaints coming. So there's a brand new 4K release of Heat, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
That movie's a classic.
It's so good. And the director, Michael Mann.
Who was that Michael Mann?
He's a legend, but he changed the color timing and made it look totally different.
What's that mean, color timing?
He made like the look of the movie. He made everything way darker.
Oh, that's a shame.
And it's like, why? And it looks like crap. It looks like all the outdoor scenes look like it's day, but it looks like day for night.
They did
why?
Something like that on one of the releases for the new Night of the Living Dead. Like the remake, one of the releases for that has a weird color grading where it's like everything is super dark, and it's like even the day scenes look like shit. It's like the Twilight release, but then they did like a release after that like fixed it, and it was like, why did you do this? Like, just it was like the editor was like, I don't got anything better to do, so I'm just gonna do this, and then they were just like, yeah, fuck it, it's different, and I'm like, why? Yeah, it's different. That doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, I mean, he's been tinkering with Heat, like with each new release. He'll make a very minor change, like remove a line of dialogue here, or like insert a shot.
Yeah,
it's like at least we can watch the original version still.
Right.
I mean, if he wants to mess with it, that's fine as long as we can see the.
It's not like a Star Wars kind of deal, yeah.
Right. So, anyways, it's just sad that that's like the definitive release on this like platform, and it sucks.
Yeah. That's sad.
James Cameron did the same thing with Terminator 2. Like, come on.
Terminator as well, or Terminator 2, Rise of the Machines? Wait, is
James
it
Cameron's
Terminator
Revenge.
2, The Rise of the Machines, or is it Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines?
It's
I think
3.
I think Terminator 2 is Judgment Day, right?
Judgment Day.
Okay. Judgment Day. That was another one that never got on my nerves, but it was kind of skirting it because they also used it for a bunch of like pay-per-views, like Judgment, and I was like, okay, dude, like, fuck off. I'm like, fuck off. Judgment should be reserved for judges. Speaking of judges, Judge Dredd coming November 24th. Do you have any like recommendations or like tales or anything to tell?
Nope.
I think the tales will be weaved inside this podcast, as they usually are.
Could be.
So let's go. You ready to go into Weird Watches?
Yes.
Weird Watches, Gene Roddenberry's Earth Final Conflict. So, yeah, Earth Final Conflict is a science fiction television series based on ideas developed by Gene Roddenberry. The series was produced under the guidance of his widow, Majel Barrett Roddenberry, who possessed notes kept by Roddenberry that would provide the conceptual basis for the series. It ran for 5 seasons between October 6, 1997 and 2002. One of the things that I did not know until after, because what I do is I'll take notes on it each week. This is like my process. I'll take notes on something. Then I'll go back and I'll copy these things off of the internet, to see like, hey, what's, like what the show is and what the synopsis is, which I'm going to go over the synopsis here in a minute. But like, I did not know until after I watched it that this wasn't like something he was directly involved with. It was like his notes. So we're getting into the fucking like Silmarillion and shit here now. It's like,
yep.
Oh my god. But having said that, the synopsis is, when an alien species comes to Earth bearing gifts for humanity, a few suspicious humans, like they're suspicious, like they're not, like they're suspicious of the aliens, seek to discover and resist the newcomers' true designs. Yeah. There are these guys in the show called Companions, and all I could think of was Mr. Show. The whole... 2 companions went lost with
I
their...
actually didn't think about that. But
and I was like, fuck.
We're worried about the young people.
Yeah.
And their companions.
Yeah. So, this show... I guess first of all, like, had you heard of this show before I picked it? Or?
I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
Which is always the best kind of weird watch.
I hadn't heard of it until I went on like a thing. Like, I'm sure you probably did the same thing when you went looking for stuff you might be good to like watch for this, and I was like, okay, well, I'm always down to like try science fiction, and yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if I should like say what I think of it now or like go over the notes.
That's the whole point.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I guess, should I just spoil it and say exactly what I think right up front? Because then it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. This was not good.
Really?
Yeah, I thought this was kind of boring.
I didn't think it was good, but I didn't think it was boring. I thought it was fairly interesting.
I thought, like,
yeah.
I'm like, Evil Dead remake does definitely not suck. I think the best thing I can say about this is, like, it has, like, an interesting idea, but...
Right.
It's just, like... I guess I could go through some of the stuff here, but it's, like... the main character, like, the actor who's playing him is just not... He just doesn't do it for me in this. He's very, like...
That was the biggest problem,
boring.
dude.
Like, he doesn't...
Like,
I don't...
Oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, like, I thought I was in a forest.
Yeah.
Because this performance was so wooden.
Yeah, I was going to say, I usually don't, like, rip on people, like, actors themselves, but this guy sucked. Like,
He was really
he was
bad
so
over in the
bad,
show.
and it was, like, it made everybody else look bad, too. And even if they weren't, it was, like... Because some of the other people, it was, like, they played it a little too close to him, And when they did, I was like, God, these people suck. They have no emotions. Like, his fucking wife gets killed at one point, and then they just show, like, the next scene, and he's, like, doesn't give a shit. He's, like, burying her, and he's, like, whatever. And it's, like, huh. Also, in the beginning of this, there's, like, a dude with a super fake-looking beard, and I thought it was really funny because, like, they kind of make him look like Santa Claus, but then he's just, like, never seen again in the show. And I was like, when everybody's waiting for the aliens to fucking show up, you know, like, to... I don't know, he talks about some bullshit. And then, like, before they go to the intro, the alien goes, like, translucent. And I was just like, that's very Star Trek, where, like, they do something that's, like, out of the ordinary, and then it's like, okay, intro. So, what do you think?
I did like the aliens. I thought they were really creepy. And
yeah.
Like, when they spoke in their native language, I was like, I don't want to hear this. Because it was, like, legit creepy.
Yeah, I did have alien talks, and it's fucking horrifying.
Yeah. That was awesome.
What do you think of, like, the intro? Like,
where they explain the plot of the episode?
I was like, this is the fucking stupidest shit. Yeah, it was like, there was no reason. I thought it was another one of those things where I thought maybe I'd missed something. Like, maybe they were like, okay, this already happened to this guy, and then you go from here, which would have been fine. But literally, the first episode happens after what they say, which is like a recap.
When it happened, I was like, oh, this is cool. They're getting rid of all the backstory, so we don't have to watch that.
But then they did it anyway.
Stuff. And then they did it anyway.
Yeah, I was like, I actually had to rewind this like 5 times to get all this bullshit. So, Gene Roddenberry's Earth Final Conflict comes up. It's like, you know, like the logo. 3 years ago, they came, forever altering the future of humanity. William Bohr's life has been destroyed. A man caught between two worlds, assigned protector to the companions, undercover agent with the liberation. An alien implanted cybervirus enhances his mind. Control of a bioengineered weapon with unprecedented power. William Boone searches for the truth. I think it's Boone, but at the beginning I thought it was Bohr's, but it's William Boone. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, yeah, like, I'm with you. If it had just been that, like, that's a lot to take in, but if they had just gotten that out of the way, but then they proceeded to waste the first episode doing, you know, the same shit. Yeah. Let's see. A guy says, I want the shooter, like, there's an assassination, and fucking, like, he's taking forever to line a shot up. And then he, like, uses a laser that shows up even, like, on the guy, and everybody's like, he's over there. And he's like, I want the shooter. And I'm like, that dude literally blew up the fucking building, and the guy survived. I was like, eh.
Dude, so I'm just looking at this now. That main dude was only in 24 episodes. So maybe they, like, righted the ship. Because there's, like, 110 episodes of this series.
Yeah, that's what kind of surprised me. I thought this would have been like a Puchinsky one and done.
I know.
So when I found it was multiple seasons, I was like, man, I guess people were dying for anything back then.
Also, the special effects made me, like, appreciate Star Trek because they were so bad, dude.
Yeah.
It was like Kid Pick style.
Yeah. One thing that I didn't get, it was like he knows the assassin. It's like he calls his name out. He says Eddie. And then he's, like, acting like he doesn't know him. And then he, like... I guess it was like, they're like, it's only a matter of time before he puts it together. I'm like, he knew who you were. He saw you commit the crime, and he yelled his name out at the thing. At first, I thought he was just, like, because he said he was, like, withholding evidence, but, like, they think that he doesn't know that he knows him. And I was like, you're old friends. Like, when they meet up later in the episode, they, like, hug. So I was like, I think that was just kind of, like, a weird thing.
Yeah.
I put, what's the budget for the show? Like a $50 bill. She's being chased. Well, yeah, so the lady gets blown up and she's being chased by Austin Powers, Jaguar style. He's like in the fucking car. The same car, pretty much. What the fuck was with the bomb that like blew up on the car? It's like ridiculous. The guy's like, hey! And it like fucking blows up. It's like... The guy, like, goes fucking insane, and then fucking the bomb blows up. Yeah, this is my first note about this guy being horrible. This main guy is like a robot, no emotion. His wife just died. What the shit?
It's bad, man.
Instant funeral. Next scene. Yeah, so they like do like interdimensional jumps. So like if they want to go to like say like a different part of the world very quick, they don't like go into orbit and then come back out or like warp. It's like they go into this interdimensional flight thing, and I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I guess they punched to a different dimension, like
yeah, great premise
through.
for a show.
Yeah, I think like, that's the thing.
Anything becomes possible at that
point. But the only thing I could think of was like interdimensional stuff was when they were like, in Crystal Skulls, they weren't aliens, they were interdimensional beings, and I was like, holy crap, the guy staged his own death. So some dude comes out of the wall and he's like, I actually staged my own death and gave up billions of dollars because the companions are evil. But like in this first episode, like they don't there's nothing to show that that's even the case. They never are malicious, and they just have to, he just has to take these random people he's never met's word for it, and like they say, oh, your wife was killed by him, by the companions, to get you to join. I'm like, well, how does he know that? Like, or like, why would he believe him? I guess I should say, you know, like, I don't know. What'd you think about like when he's getting like the needle that does a little dance or whatever before like she puts it in his head? What do you think about like him widening his eyes as he's getting like he's trying to act like he's being downloaded information, and his best way of doing it is to be like he widens his eyes, and I think it's like the same fucking cut every time. It's like,
I think I was laughing out loud when
yeah,
that happened.
It was like, dude, what'd you think about the thing on his arm, the skrill or whatever?
It was very like a very 90s design, I thought.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I hated to admit it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there are parts of this show that are interesting. It's just none of them have to do with like any of the acting, which is like weird to say, but you have to like see it to believe it. There was a fuck up here. Some dude, like Eddie, gets killed. Like his friend, and they're like, you couldn't protect him. But like when they like zoom in on, like they show his like dead body, he like the actor like fucks up, and you can see him like kind of like flutter his eyes. So like, yeah, that was just
got him.
Yeah, that was a fuck up. Another, this guy can't act. That was my last note for this. Yeah.
I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah.
My guess is that it probably got much better over time.
I would hope so.
They made it to 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Because it is a good premise, like we said. There's probably some interesting stuff. So
yeah,
I'm glad it was a good pick.
Yeah, I'm always down to like watch this.
Even though
stuff,
it kind of sucked.
It was just like, I don't know. There's so many shows out there that get canceled and they were good, and this show got like a shit ton of seasons, and I'm like, this better have gotten way better, man, because you know, this first episode was like, you know, it was like fucking pure gruel, dog shit. I guess it was just boring, which is like the worst thing you can say, at least for me. Like I said, I like the premise for some of the stuff, but it was just kind of like, it's one of those things like, yeah, like if you're having your main actor be such a wooden performance, it would have made more sense if he acted like that after he got like implanted. But like, he was like a fucking robot, and then they implanted him, and there was like no change. I was like, okay, this guy, fuck it. Okay, do you have anything else to say about this show? Are you gonna watch all 15 seasons and get the 4Ks?
I'm good.
Yeah, it was dog shit. Okay, so you ready to go to the top 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So this week we have top 5 alien species. I'm like brought to you by Cracker Barrel. Actually, we don't have a sponsor. So are you ready to get into this? You have yours numbered?
I do.
Ah, wonderful. Okay, so what's your number 5?
My number 5 is the Wampas from Star Wars.
Oh no, I totally forgot about those.
So cool.
They were legit
scary.
in the game.
Yeah, man. It's like basically an abominable snowman in Star Wars. Doesn't get much cooler than that.
Yeah, they're like a Yeti. Pretty legit.
And when I found out there was scenes that, like, deleted scenes that they actually filmed with more Wampa action, I was like, whoa.
And then they were, like, never seen again, sadly.
Yep.
Do they ever, like... I guess that's, like, one of those species that since they were only, like, on that one planet and they weren't, like... They weren't, like, intelligent enough, like, Wookiees to, like, build spaceships. They just were never seen again, right?
Yeah, I think... I can't remember. There may have been more in the books.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the video games, but yeah.
But it's, like, the only way that they would have been on another planet is if somebody had, like, taken them there.
Probably. But you never know.
You take them to... I'm taking them to the sun. Yeah, I thought they were really cool back in the day, like the game that we played and stuff, the Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
When you could unlock, like, the Wampa army that would, like, follow you around and just, like, ream everybody.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. I never got to unlock those guys because that game was hard as hell, but it was fun. My number 5 is, I kind of had, like, a tie. The Xenomorphs, or Predators, or / Predators, I guess I should say, from the Predator Alien films. Mainly just because they're iconic. I kind of had a hard time filling out this list because there were so many, like, there's so many cool alien species, but, like, I think those are probably, like, I kind of weighed between, like, what I liked the most and also what I, like, you know, had to put on the list for just, you know, I guess, pop culture. And I was like, yeah, I mean, they're, when I think people think, you know, when you say alien, people think, holy shit, predators and aliens for sure. Probably more so aliens, like xenomorphs, but I'm like, when people say aliens, you have to say, think of aliens.
I think of James Bond.
Oh, damn. You just got my fake number 1.
Nice. My real number 1 is the Xenomorph, so you got me there.
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah, man, it doesn't get any cooler or scarier.
I don't really care that much about like alien films or predator films, so like.
Oh, I love those movies.
Like they've kind of
not the predator.
They've kind of ruined them at this point, so like.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's kind of like Jurassic Park. I don't really give a shit as much as I used to about them. If they had left them alone, it's like They probably would have been higher on this list, but they're lucky they made the 5 spot. Those sick sons of bitches. So what's your number 4? You're like
some alien species are like scary, but some are warm your heart.
They are warm your heart.
Mac from Mac and Me, his family, like that race of aliens.
Like a plastic rubber suit alien.
Not really. That was a joke pick, if you couldn't tell.
I kind of could, but then again,
hilarious.
You sometimes have interesting.
My real pick is the Kilrathi species from the Wing Commander games.
Are those like the big like
They're basically
cats?
like giant cat, like giant lion aliens?
Yeah, I never played those games. I remember like seeing the cutscenes sometimes online and stuff, and Mark Hamill was in those.
Yeah, they're so cool.
But I never played them, so I didn't really have like an attachment to them. But those are really cool. I remember like when I saw like a video of it, like I think maybe you since you had the game, I saw like something on it at one point and was like blown away because it was like full like what's it called, like someone in like a costume or whatever.
They were like animatronic,
like, holy
like
shit,
Ninja Turtles style.
Yeah, it's really cool. What is their whole thing in those games? Like, they're just kind of like a species that lives in the Wing Commander?
They're kind of like the Klingon equivalent for the Wing Commander universe.
So they're like always kind of like assholes and looking to start fights and shit.
Yeah, like the humans are at war with them, but kind of like Star Trek. In one of the games, there's a good one, like a Worf, who joins the humans.
Nice.
Spoiler alert, it turns out he's been a traitor the whole time.
To the humans or to the...
to the humans.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
it's like a shocking reveal in that game.
They're like, he's a fucking asshole, and everyone's like, what?
I was like, who made who?
Did the puppet make the maker? You decide. It's like, what? So now my number 4 is the Namekians from Dragon Ball. The Piccolo or Kami, like the green guys that can like stretch out their arms and regrow their limbs, and they're all male, but they like lay eggs and shit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They're probably not as iconic as a bunch of these other, races and stuff, but like obviously these are our own lists, so it's also one of those things where it's like, what is iconic to you, and what like you know what I mean, like what's impacted you the most. So that is my number 4.
Nice.
What about number 3?
Number 3 are the apes from Planet of the Apes. Wait a minute.
I was like,
if the Statue of Liberty was on the... Damn you! Damn you all to hell! You maniacs! You blew it up!
Was that another joke pick?
My real pick, which you're probably going to think is a joke, but it's totally not, are what's cooler than aliens? What if the aliens were ghosts? Like the ghosts of Mars.
Were those actually
such a cool
aliens?
Idea. They were alien ghosts on Mars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Our previous episode.
I don't have anything else to say about that.
I just think it's a cool
Do you have anything really to say about it? I guess
I think it's awesome.
I mean, as far as
really
like
what
movie.
do you
like what their race is, or just
it's like so mysterious because you don't really know, but they're ghosts that were unlocked when humans intervened on Mars.
So they were like Martians that like died and turned into ghosts and possessed people.
Yep.
Yes, they indeed were. Do you have any other insight into that, or any other things, I guess, before I pick my number 3?
No, we already did a deep dive in our previous episode.
That's true. Cool. So my number 3 is The Thing from The Thing.
Yeah, that's a nice pick, for sure.
Definitely probably the most iconic, I would say, John Carpenter alien, you would think, maybe? I don't know. I don't know how many other aliens he's done besides...
I think it's that and Starman.
Yeah, well, and the guys from They Live.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Damn, I wish I would have thought of that one. I actually didn't think about it.
And the Ghost from Mars aliens.
Yep.
So I guess he has done quite a few, but yeah, Starman with Jeff Bridges, right?
Yep.
That reminds me of when we went to that convention, that dude asked that question. He's like, why don't you, Roddy Piper, Jeff Bridges, and Kurt Russell get together and kick ass and make another movie? And he was like, I'm good. He was like, I'm good to just collect a paycheck. And I was like, yep, fair enough. So yeah, I don't know if there what I mean, we're eventually gonna do The Thing. We have plans for that specifically, and we'll go more into that when we but yeah, it's on this list, so it's good stuff. What's your number 2?
My number 2,
you're like, shit, I didn't think that
kind of
far.
like The Thing. It's kind of more of a one-off species,
right?
Or one-off
yeah,
alien, but it's Armus from Star Trek: The Next Generation, like the car monster that kills Tasha Yar.
I forgot about that.
I just think, I mean, it's really cheesy, but I always thought that was a cool looking alien, and like he actually killed a member of the crew, so you get bonus points for that.
Should have killed like everybody. They're like, sorry, season's over.
Yeah, from the episode Skin of Evil in season 1.
If you had to like, I guess if like, speaking of that, like if you were to go back in time and they're like, okay, they still have to kill somebody but like you could swap out anybody else that was in the main cast with Tasha Yar, would there be anybody that you would?
Oh yeah, Wesley Crusher. He's like kill that kid.
Yeah. That was
He was
just
super
that was
annoying
just
on
a
that
way
show.
to like for me to set up my hate for the Crushers.
Wouldn't have mind seeing Crusher get munched either.
I want to see a Crusher get crushed.
I'm like Crusher, more like crush her.
She's like, fuck that, I'd rather be plowed by a fucking ghost. I'm like, kill me. You remember that episode?
Yeah, I do.
Romantic novel.
I kind of like that
bullshit.
episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
Mr. Ghost of Mars over here.
yeah.
You're like, it's also true. Was that your number 2? I forget what the fuck we're doing. Okay, so mine is another Star Trek alumni. And I think we know who this is.
Yeah.
Who is it? Actually, I'll let you guess.
This is one of the few things I think we strongly disagree on. The Ferengi.
Oh, no. I don't think so at all. No. It's the
Okay.
Q.
Nice.
Seemingly godlike race that can do or say whatever the hell they want. Yeah, the Q, John DeLacy, I think, is his name, right?
Yeah.
He is, like, he embodies, like, that character so well, and throughout The Next Generation, his appearances on Voyager, and, like, well, less than Voyager, but, and his appearance in
Enterprise,
Deep
wasn't he?
Space Nine.
He an Enterprise?
I can't remember, honestly, man.
I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember.
I want to say no, but he could have, and I just don't remember it. But having said that, like, that character was always cool, and they used him sparingly enough for him to keep, like, his cool factor. I feel like, at least in Next Generation.
Couldn't agree more. The Qs was like such a wild idea, and those were always a highlight of every season.
What the coolest thing about it too
man,
was that,
Q
like,
episode.
you never know if he's gonna be like obviously, like, there are parts where he gets people killed and stuff like that, but, like, at the same time, he's kind of like a character that can be like their greatest ally. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't know if he's gonna, like, fuck shit up. You don't know if he's gonna, like, get some people killed, or if he's gonna, like, I don't know. Mainly he causes trouble for, like, Picard and shit in the crew. Like, they all hate him, and he's kind of like, people have to, like, study him in Starfleet because it's like a new race that they've encountered that's essentially like gods, and they can do whatever the hell they want, and it's like, you know, there's no way that they can really get away with fucking with the Q. But Picard seems to at least be close enough with him, you know what I mean, where it's like he wouldn't just straight up, like, munch Picard.
Yeah.
So, do you have any honorable mentions? I have a couple here.
I do.
Wow.
Just a shout out to, like, some of my favorite Star Wars aliens.
Shout it out.
Doug, which is the Sebulba's
Fuck.
race.
You took one of mine.
Nice.
I put that on there just for you.
Stupid alien that has arms for legs and legs for arms.
I think that's a really cool idea, but, like, you can tell that, like, George Lucas or whoever started coming up with these names gave the fuck up, because it's like, Doug is a fucking name for an alien, like, race. Like, there was, like, what's Watto's race's name? It's fucking stupid sounding,
Yeah,
too.
something stupid. I forget. But I also the the Wolfman from the Cantina. It's just
Yes.
like they found a werewolf mask.
Yeah, that was really cool. And there's, like, a demon too. They had, like,
Yeah.
a demon mask that, like, they turned that into a species, and I was like, okay, so now we have, like, Earth stuff. I mean, there's also that part where doesn't, like, Han Solo tells the dude to go to hell or some shit,
Yeah.
and it's like, ugh.
He's a Christian.
Yeah, he's a
But,
he's a
Speaking of Han, my favorite alien in all of Star Wars are the Corellians, which is Han Solo's race.
Nice. Yeah, I was actually
Han
going to
Solo,
put that
greatest
on
alien
here,
ever.
but then I was just like,
That's stupid.
yeah. Well, no, it's not stupid. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's like, technically they're aliens because they're not humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they were like, yeah. But it's like, I don't know. It's just
And
funny.
my only other honorable mention is Superman is a pretty cool alien.
Ah, shit. Nice, man. Yeah, he is a pretty cool alien. I have some honorable mentions. Pig Cop from Duke Nukem, which I think that's just a person that got turned into a pig, so maybe that's not a alien.
Great call.
But I thought it was really cool. Also, like the all of the Duke Nukem aliens are awesome. The guy like the floating eye guys and that kind of stuff. Yoda species, which I thought it was weird that they've never like named Yoda species ever. Like throughout the whole lore, they've never named him. Like I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird. Probably because they know that they named Sebulba Doug, so it's like the Talaxians, Neelix from Voyager, Vulcans, Spock from Star Trek, and what's the Voyager character that's a Vulcan as well? I can't remember his name. Tuvok, yeah, that's right. And then the Vorta, Wei Yun, Changelings, Odo, Ferengi, Quark, and then Alan Tudyk from Resident Alien. My fake number one was James Bond, because it's true. He is an alien. But yeah, your honorable mention. I had a tie for number one, so one of them was Superman. What do you think the other one is?
I sure thought the Ferengi were going to be on your list. I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, that was on the honorable mentions. I like them, but like, yeah,
I do not.
Well,
I like Quark, the character Quark.
Yeah.
But
I just like that their
episodes,
race actually got character development, like, which is legit.
It did. I think it may be who's Quark's brother?
Rom.
That performance is like something out of like a kid's like Saturday morning cartoon show. And
I think he's
really
just
bad.
like an idiot, so it kind of comes off kind of like a little.
I just find it annoying and stupid. So.
Well.
What's your number one Superman?
Number one is Kryptonians, Kal-El, Superman, and pretty much the exact same thing. Saiyans, Goku, and Vegeta. Both their planets were destroyed, and they came to Earth to become its greatest saviors.
Nice.
So yeah, my number ones are pretty much like I don't know if I could put one over the other because I have like such a huge admiration for both. I'm not like a huge comic collector or manga collector really, but I've just watched like the movies and shows for both. So Superman and Goku, can't really do much better than that. And your number one was
the
Xenomorphs. Yeah, those are I haven't put here iconic. I mean, when you think of Alien, like obviously people think like the most powerful alien would probably be like Superman or Goku, but like they look like humans. But when you think like truly alien, like their Xeno is in their fucking name. Xenomorphs, like they're horrifying. They like, they essentially like, invade people.
Yeah.
And like,
and their lore is like really cool because there's different forms, how they evolve, and like
Yeah.
the Queen is a great monster. And then when Ripley like mates with the alien and has that baby, it's like one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in a movie. So.
Yeah, it's essentially like I always thought it was like an allegory for like, and it's probably not a reach for this, but like rape, which is like it's horrifying. It's like you get fucking violated, and like, but like you said with the whole like like the different like ways that they can like turn out. I always thought it was so cool because it reminded me of like obviously like Alien and Resident Evil, where it's like, what would the like G virus do to like a dog or like a gorilla or like a what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, or same thing with like an alien. What would happen if like a xenomorph interacted with like a gorilla and it like it made like a fucking super alien? You know what I mean? Because the xenomorphs usually are born out of humans, I guess. You know what I mean? So it's like, or at least that's what it seems like. I don't know. They have this whole lore, like you said. It's super out of control, but good stuff, man. You can go down like a web, definitely, or a tunnel or whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm going down a web. It's like, how? Do you have anything else for the top 5?
Let's move on to the main event.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this? For the feature presentation of the Kyler. Oh wait, the killer shit.
So I've been doing a little bit of research in the background.
Oh shit!
And, the killer, at the time it was released, did not have the highest body count. of any movie, but it was close.
So not only were they lying historically, they were lying in fiction.
Here's the ones that were ahead of it. A Better Tomorrow 2, which was John Woo's previous movie. So
what?
His previous one even had a higher body count.
Wow.
Dune.
Wait, what was it? What's the other one?
Dune.
Dune?
Yep.
Huh. Oh, yeah.
Dawn of the Dead. And Lone Wolf and Cub, White Heaven and Hell.
Oh, shit. Speaking of which, go back and watch our older episode of the Lone Wolf and Cub mega mix. That's, what is it called? Samurai
Shogun
Assassin. Yeah.
And the killer has 149 deaths.
Damn.
Like more than one per minute.
It doesn't seem that much.
Well, because they're all contained within a few scenes.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like happening. Yeah.
And currently the movie with the highest body count is Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. A lot of like the more recent war movies have higher ones because you see like tons of dudes just getting wiped out.
I guess that's not funny, but I was like laughing. These bunch of dudes getting wiped out. They're like falling on their ass. Fucking wipe me out. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, man. I guess I never thought about that.
There's 836 deaths.
What the fuck?
Well, a lot of it's like when you see creatures just like wading into a sea of dudes.
Yeah,
and, like,
it's true.
Taking out like 50 dudes per
swing.
like,
yeah, because it's like an actual army kind of thing. It's like, yeah. Huh. Damn. Well.
So what did you think of The Killer?
I thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah. I didn't like love it like I thought I might, but it wasn't something that I like hated or anything. It was kind of I watched it over 2 nights. And I don't know. I don't think that was because
I did too.
Yeah, I think it was mainly because I started it and I was kind of like, there are parts of it that kind of get a little uninteresting to me. And I say that sometimes about like certain James Bond films too, and I have to watch those over multiple. But it's also because like this movie was like, and this might not be like, I don't know, people might not agree with this, but the movie was like, it's like an hour and like 50 minutes or something, and that doesn't really seem like long, but sometimes it did, if that makes any sense, and not like in a bad way.
For sure.
There are certain parts about it, and I don't know, I didn't want to like, I guess, talk bad about it because it's like classic, I guess, but it's also like I can't like lie and be like, oh, it's fucking the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Yep.
I'm glad that I watched it, but I kind of want to watch.
I agree.
Like hard.
It's not my favorite John Woo. Yeah.
Face Off.
It's not my favorite. Huh? Yeah, Face Off. I even like Hard Target more.
Which one's that?
Maybe even,
we've seen that.
That's
one
with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Is that the one where he like kicks a grenade at the dude and he blows up or something? Yeah, that movie's way better than this movie.
But I do think this is an excellent movie. But it does drag, and like there's a lot of setup.
Yeah.
And it's like more probably convoluted plot than it should be.
Yeah, this reminded me a lot of like the Yakuza games I've played before, which are like awesome games, but like those are meant to be games, and they play like games that have like, you know, like a movie level story to them and stuff, like, you know, with cops and mafia and like this kind of stuff where it's like, you know, killers but it's like the setup pays off because you're playing it for so long, that kind of a thing. You know what I mean? There's other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it's like, you know, there's a setup for like the cop, which is like he's a loose cannon, and then there's like the guy that wants to like go, like the assassin that wants to go straight, and like, you know,
he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah, all this other stuff. I want to say also it didn't help. I couldn't find like a sub version of this movie, and I watched the dub, and like a lot of times it was fine, but some of the stuff I'll have to compare with you because I wrote down some notes like for their dialogue, and you'll have to tell me if you remember this or not. But like some of it was just like, you know, I don't know if they were just ad-libbing or what, but it was like, this is just some shit dialogue. But it could have been translation, and it could have been just weird. I don't know.
I think part of it's translation, but I think also part of it, like when John Woo writes movies, they're like not in any way realistic at all, and the characters don't talk like real people. It's like such heightened dialogue. It's just a weird style.
For like Face Off, it like worked though. I felt like I was completely.
He probably didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if.
Oh, you think he wrote the dialogue? Oh,
yeah.
okay. That makes
Hard
sense.
Boiled's the same way. Like my favorite line from Hard Boiled is like, "Give a man a gun and he thinks he's Superman. Give him two and he thinks he's God." Like just stuff like that.
Superman is a god. See earlier in our episode. Yeah, like
yeah, I can see how the dialogue would be like weird.
Well, it wasn't to the point where I was like, fuck this bullshit. It wasn't like a bad horror movie or anything. It was just weird stuff that you would see like in a 1990s like JRPG where I was like, who the fuck wrote this? Like, this is like this is like alien speak.
Yeah.
But I guess before we get too much further into it, this movie came out in 1989. It's a Hong Kong action thriller film written and directed by John Woo. The film stars Chow Yun-fat, which is he still alive? Or I think we talked. Did he pass away? Right? Yeah. Oh, he is. Okay. No. Danny Lee and Sally Yeh. Chow plays the assassin Ah Jong, which in my version his name is like fucking Filthy Frank or some shit.
What?
His name's like Frank or something. We'll get to that when we get to it. Who accidentally damages the eyes of the singer Jennie, which in my dub version is her name's also Jennie, which I'm like, well, why did they change the fucking other name? Sally Yeh, during a shootout. He later discovers that if Jennie does not undergo an expensive operation, she will go blind. To get the money for Jennie, Ah Jong decides to perform one last hit. That's something they did in like Jackie Chan films too. They would like in the dubs, they would like. I think this was just a thing they did like from like 80s to like 90s, but then they started like being like, wait, people want to see these movies just for the movie. Like we don't need to like they think the audience is dumber than they actually are. I mean, there are times when the audience is stupid. I mean, like there's a lot of but you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't need to like just because like the dude's name is like Ah Jong instead of like Frank. I'm not gonna be like, who the fuck's the main character? Like where'd he go? Like
right.
But like I said, I watched the dub, couldn't find a sub version. The DVD is expensive as hell online. So like in the beginning here, we've got a dove in church, and I was like, didn't they do that like in Hard Boiled, like doves or
and Face Off and every?
That's right, yeah. So I guess that's like
that's his thing, dude.
Yeah, like a dove. I was thinking so, but I wasn't sure.
And Hard Target. There's a dove in Hard Target that like points to the clue that Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's because Jean-Claude Van Damme is a fucking dove, right? He's like, my mama, she took an egg on me. I'm like, makes no sense. So like this bar that she's singing at is called Stardust Bar, and there's like, I think like they took some stuff from this movie for the Yakuza games, because there's a bar called Stardust.
I'm sure they did. Yeah. Like this is a super influential movie for sure.
So there's a beginning of the movie like this. They set stuff like within like the first like couple minutes. So much shit happens in this film. But then it like drags in other parts. But it says, "Good Lord, the hit is supposed to be just on the guy, but he goes into the bar with everyone else there and just like kills all these people in broad daylight." And that's how like the lady gets blinded.
He's a killer.
And I was like,
Queen.
He's like, assassination is my specialty, Chancellor. But yeah, like shoots a dude in the head a couple more times for good measure, which I'm like, one is fine. That's something that I see a lot in this film, which I was like, overkill. Like he shoots a guy in the head, then he shoots him like a bunch more, and I'm like, why? I mean, it's fine because it's like an action thing, but
I love that. Like John Woo his action is so over the top, it's crazy.
To me, it like only makes sense in zombie films, but like it was,
it doesn't make sense at all, but it's awesome.
I mean, it makes sense in zombie films because you're always supposed to shoot someone twice in the head. But he kicks the table and the gun flies into his hand, which was really cool. And he like shoots a guy. It was funny because during this, I think it was like he was actually like wasn't sure if he was gonna catch it. They didn't do the whole thing where, like, the guy just barely tries and he catches it perfectly. It was like Chow Yun-fat was, like, watching the gun the whole time as it went into the air, and he, like, you know, double-handed it and stuff. And it made it seem, like, more intense because it's like, if he fucked that up and dropped the gun, he'd be dead. So, I don't know if that was just, like, he didn't want to drop it kind of thing.
What do you think the squib budget was on this movie?
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, I'd say it's like building a fire. When you think you have enough firewood, get like 200 times more. That must have been what it was for John Woo on this, because like you have to think that each dude got shot at least 3 times. Because when he assassinates a guy,
like 30 or 40
right,
times.
But he assassinates a guy at least
average.
So
yeah.
Instead of 1 shot, which would be fine, it's like, okay, so every person's gonna at least be shot 3 times, so 3 squids per person. You know, whatever the number you said before, you would have to like multiply by that, at least 5 probably. So it's fucking ridiculous, but they look legit.
I love it, dude.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
So he like blinds this lady on accident, but the way she gets blinded is like he shoots in front of her face, and somehow that like blinds her. I feel like the effect for it was not super well done, but like, you know, it's whatever. It's not like I was like the realism of this is bullshit. It was just like when he shot the gun, he like shot it in front of her face, like not like, you know, at her face. It was like he was shooting someone else and she happened to be kind of standing there or like laying there. So yeah, and later on in the film something happens like that again, and I'm like, I just don't understand how this is happening, but whatever. Yeah, he gets like a bullet taken out of his back, and like the dude that's like the doctor is like patting him like he's like a baby or like something. He's like comforting him, and the guy's like, yee, because like it fucking hurts like hell.
Wouldn't you want that if you were getting a bullet taken out?
I don't know. I guess I would rather. I would, you know. I guess I wouldn't be. I wouldn't have a choice. It's not like I'm gonna get up and walk out. I'm like, fuck you. Stop touching my back, or stop patting me. I don't know.
What do you think of Chow Yun-fat, like in general, and in this movie?
He's one of the greatest martial arts action stars of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. He's one of the greatest movie stars in like human history.
Yeah, it's like him, Jackie Chan, all these other actors.
Nations.
Yeah,
like
right.
He's a movie star in like every country.
Right, he's like Jackie Chan. He's like a serious star in Hong Kong, but like he transcends, you know what I mean, like any of that, and goes around the world. He's like, all around the world, statues crumble for me. It's like, what does that fucking mean? Like, is he like a Gorgon or something? Like, he like turns people to statues? But it's like, why would the statues crumble for him? Anyway,
the only thing bad about the Gorgon is the Gorgon.
Oh, man. It's like, So dudes go up to this blind singer lady and try stealing her purse and then start raping her. Or try raping her. They don't do it, thank God. And I'm like, seriously? That's pretty fucked up. But then they get their asses beat, and he like ECWs them and throws a trash can on the one dude, which I thought was legit. I'm pretty sure that trash can wasn't like a wrestling trash can either. It was like straight up like steel or something. I don't know. They make trash cans out of steel.
Nobody knows.
So a random lamp falls over and absolutely terrifies the lady that's not blind. Or wait, no. It terrifies her because she's blind. I'm like, this is fucked up. She doesn't have anybody to take care of her. So she was just gonna go to her home and like literally be in the dark or something. And I was like, man, this is rough. Did you think that like the music was Karate Kid-esque? Kind of like the second one. They kind of have some like
not specifically.
When they go to like the Okinawa, they have very like I guess like I don't know.
It's very melancholy, which this movie is kind of It's a
Yeah,
tragedy.
and that's how it is
ultimately,
with like Karate Kid 2 and like
yeah.
Mr. Miyagi's like dad passes away. She can see light and dark. He looks like a shadow to her. And we're only 13 minutes into this fucking film at this point. She puts on some music and he's like having a flashback of what happened earlier in the film, but it's only been 13 minutes into this fucking film. It's like he can't have forgotten what she looks like. He didn't get shot in the fucking face. He's not blind. Like, what the hell? Like, that's the kind of stuff that it's like, dude, cut this shit out of the film. Like, you know, we don't need this crap. Like, this is what stretches this shit, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yep. So, this is my first written down dub line. You better lighten up a bit, or it'll be an open secret. I said, don't know if this is just in the dub or what, but that makes no fucking sense. If it's like, if people know about it, it's not an open secret. It's not a secret anymore. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? It's an open secret.
That's secret. Everybody knows about it.
It's open. It's like, if everyone knows, it's not a fucking secret. But it was just like, that's the kind of shit that I'm gonna be like, you know.
That has to be a translation.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just like, what is this shit? Straight up gave a lady a heart attack and she died because of it. On like the bus or whatever. Here's another dubbed line. He'd shoot anybody for any reason. I'm like, anybody for any reason? Like, how? Like, what?
They don't call him the killer for nothing.
But it wasn't him. It was the bad guy that he was talking about. I was like, what is he talking about? He'd kill anybody for any reason. Last job using explosive head bullets. Your favorite. I was like, is that a thing? Explosive head bullets? Like,
it is in video games.
That's true. He starts playing harmonica Bruno style.
Yeah.
He fakes everybody out. Yeah. I thought
There's always a thing. Like in Hard Boiled, or in Killer, he plays a harmonica, and Hard Boiled, like, he has a toothpick.
Yeah.
And he, like, is always drinking the tequila.
Kind of makes me want to go back and watch Hard Boiled because everybody's like, that's the greatest action movie ever. And now I'm like, after watching this, I'm like, I need to, like, rewatch that because, see, I'm sure it holds up, but it's like this movie didn't, like,
I'm scared
blow me
to
away.
pick it because, like, Hard Boiled is probably my favorite movie of all time, and I think it's the greatest action movie. So, like, it would never live up to that for you to watch it. But, like,
well, as long as it's a little better than this.
Yeah, like I said, like, I love John Woo. He's one of my He's one of my favorite directors. But there's, like, probably 6 of his movies that I like more than The Killer. So
glad I picked it.
I am too.
Fuck it. We got rowing antics. He's wearing a fake mustache.
Looked real to me.
Still real to me, damn it. He's killing a guy, and I'm like, the first shot was right in the middle of his head, and then he's like fucking dead, but instead of like escaping, he takes another shot, hits him in the shoulder, and then shoots him in the back as he turns. They're like, there must be like, you shoot a dude 3 times clause, which I guess we already went over, so.
And he had the obligatory speedboat chase.
Yeah, where he just disappeared randomly. I was like,
yeah.
How? There's a cool part though coming up. He disembarks from his boat of speed, and he uses his sunglasses to see the glint from the rifle scope.
Yeah, that was cool.
And dodges a bunch of bullets, jumps, rolls, and perfectly shoots a dude right in the heart. And I'm like, man, it's like the action is awesome, but it's kind of getting dragged down by some of this other random bullshit that I don't need to be seeing. Not that I'd want straight action, but if it's like this, I'm fine with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He saves a little girl. Detective helps him as well. We got Hard Boiled, Hospital Antics. I think that's just a thing with John Woo. Maybe these are the only 2 movies with hospitals, but he gets away, and the cops go out to the car, and the keys aren't there. And like, why the fuck didn't the cops take the keys with them? Who leaves their keys in their car? Like,
bad move.
Yeah. Cop describing Chow Yun-fat, and he's like in love with him. he's like, he's a killer, but he's not, too rough. And I'm like, this must be like another fucking dub thing, because it's just, it's like the kind of dialogue you get in like an old Square game. It's like, what the fuck? Name in the dub. Okay, so his name in the dub is Jeffrey.
Okay.
Don't know why they changed it, because there's other characters in this.
It has to be an English sounding name.
Are named Wing and like Chung and stuff. Well, I'm like, everybody Wing Chung tonight. But like Wing and stuff, you know what I mean? It's like their original fucking names, but then they changed this one, and I'm like, what? Like they wanted to do like the bare minimum. Hashtag no reloading.
No.
His hitman friend pulled the trigger and the gun was empty. And he like, essentially like, dude, you failed the test. And fucking like,
it was a big mess.
Yeah. He got an F-. Yeah, and then like literally like he starts like crying kind of. Or not crying, but he starts like, dude, you're my friend. You fucked me. But he lets him live. But there's some awesome action. That's the only note I have about this part. There's a weird part where like the cop says something and then it like freeze frames on him, and that happens a couple times in this film. And
Yeah.
Like, what? It makes you think it's like the end of the film, and I was just like,
you don't see that too often anymore, especially now. But
yeah,
I thought it was a cool touch. The scene where they like kind of have a standoff and they have to like lie to Jennie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Really, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I thought that was hilarious and awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. Like I think for me, what did they call each other in the fucking movie?
It was Shrimp Head and Small B.
You'll never guess what they.
What?
So it calls him fucking Dumbo and Mickey Mouse.
Oh, that's right. I have seen the dub version before. Oh, I forgot about that.
And I was just like, I wasn't like offended. I mean, Disney, I think it's totally fine. It was just kind of interesting, and I wasn't sure if that was the same for you, because I mean, I could see them saying something like that, because like, I mean, Disney stuff like that is like pretty well known around the world, you know what I mean? But it was just kind of interesting that like she's like,
cool,
what were your nicknames back in the day? And it's like Mickey Mouse and Dumbo, and I'd be like, why? Like, that makes no fucking sense. Is his ears like huge and the other dude's like a baby? Or he's like tiny? Like, what? Like the other one makes more sense, I guess. Maybe. I don't know, Shrimp Head. And what was the other thing?
Small B.
Huh.
That's weird. But funny.
Small B.
But you have to have that standoff with like dudes pointing guns at each other in every John Woo movie.
Yeah, they had. I mean, they had some cool stuff with that. With the other dude tries to like show up, and they're like, "Who is it?" And it's like, he's the janitor, or like the janitor. And she's like, "I didn't know we had one." He's like, "Oh, actually, he's the gas man. There's like a gas leak." And I don't know if that was what it was in the original, but like, they were both like, everyone's lying to her just to like save her, from the but then like he runs away and they tell him anyway.
But it also made me think this is probably the only movie ever where the last line is Shrimp Head. It's like credits.
Oh yeah, maybe for your
he's
version.
Like calling out his name at the end. It's like Shrimp Head.
Yeah, I think he says Mickey Mouse in my version. Yeah, because like he gets fucked. No money, no action. Mr. Wang, even if I see his finger on the trigger about to blow your head off. I'm like, that's a pretty stupid fucking thing, because how are you going to get paid if he gets murdered? I was like, I'm pretty sure that was probably not correct. I don't know, like I said, like some of this stuff. This part, they pull over and the dude goes, "I want you to shoot me, because I can't see a friend crawling on his knees before that shit!" And I was like, what? Like, I guess he meant, like, I'd rather die than see, like, a friend of mine grovel.
Yeah.
But the way like the translation came out, it was just like, eh.
There's a lot of similar themes in like John Woo movies of like loyalty and dignity
best
and
pals
things like that.
and
Yeah.
Well, at least we're human, and when I die, I know I at least had the courage to love a friend. I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know if that was a dub thing, but from what you're saying, it might have been an actual thing in the original.
I think that's a good line though. I like it.
Yeah, it's something somebody wrote on a piece of paper and said. Set up at the airport, when she like gets away.
That was a cool scene. I thought it was very well done. Like at this point, the movie really starts going. Like,
yeah, the movie should have actually just started here.
Yeah.
Took a little too long. It's like an hour and something in, and it's finally happening. Jeffrey, run away! There's cops everywhere. I thought she said cunts, and I was like, airport escape through luggage. I thought that was really cool. I don't know. I've always thought it would be fun to like get into like a luggage thing and like ride the little belt.
Like Kramer.
Did he do that?
Yeah, he like rolled out of the baggage claim in one episode.
So I don't know if this is a fuck up, but like at an hour, 12 minutes, 29 seconds, there's like this real crash in the parking garage between the one dude's car and these assassins.
That looked dangerous because there's actually like dudes in that car getting munched.
Yeah, and like it gets smashed, then they just cut to like the black car chasing after him, and that car that just got hit has no damage.
Yeah, that stuck out to me too. I was like, whoa!
But the one dude's car is still damaged, so I don't know if it was like they weren't supposed to actually crash and they didn't have the footage of the car being messed up or what, because it's like it still is fucked up, and it's like maybe the one car was just so destroyed they had to get another car.
Probably.
But like the damage is still there on the yellowish car, so it makes me think that like it was just like a fuck up or whatever, because like the way it happens was like a little too fucking real. Yeah, another instance of why'd they change the main character's name. His friend talks about a character, Young Wing, which is definitely not a changed name, and I was like, okay. You can't win all the time, but you can lose forever.
Yeah, that was a good line.
Legit story.
I don't think that was quite it in
the actual movie.
Version.
Yeah,
I think it was like you can't win every time, and sometimes it's okay to lose or something like that. But I thought it was clever.
Yeah.
Now we're getting into kind of the final shootouts, and I have a question. How many henchmen do you think the main bad guy had?
Yeah.
They keep coming. They're like cockroaches. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking stupid. It's like
that's what I love the most. Like no other movies are like this, where there's just like wave after wave of henchmen getting mowed down.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, what's the point of this after a bit?
The point is it's awesome. That's my favorite part of these movies.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree.
Shootout otherwise.
Well,
like insanity on film.
Well, not insanity. They're not like shooting apes and like jumping to the moon.
Well, one guy. So here's this made me laugh so hard. So during like the house assault scene, just wave after wave of henchmen keep running in. The house is all white, and they're all wearing white.
Yeah,
so, like you can see the blood. Like,
yeah,
it's a true blood
I think that's the only reason why they were all in the same uniforms.
Right. But one random henchman thought it would be a good idea to lay down in the driveway on his back and like tilt his head up and shoot, and he just gets blown away. It's like munch. I was like, why was he doing that?
Dude, fucking
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, dude, fuck that shit. Listen to this. The dudes are like rolling up in cars and they don't have time to park, so they just roll out. And I'm like, that makes no fucking sense.
It's like River City Ransom or something.
Yeah. It's like, what? This makes no fucking sense, because the dudes, they can't roll out, like, or they can't like stop, like,
and their strategy is to just run through the front door, like, without even trying to cover or anything.
I don't think a guy gets away with being shot just one time in this film, like,
no.
And then he stabs. There's a guy gets stabbed in the back.
Yeah, that was particularly violent.
Shoots a car in the gas tank, and it blows the hell up. trying to think here.
That's awesome.
She picks up a gun and like actually shoots at the one dude and tries to kill him, and she misses. But it's like she was totally fine to kill him to save like Chow Yun-fat.
Mm-hmm.
The story of opposite sides of the law: a cop and his best friend, and the assassin and his best friend, both put in peril due to the third party. A tale of manly love. A buddy shot. Yeah, it's kind of like they have like best friends on both sides, and they both their friends die, and then they become best friends within like 2 seconds. It's like, what?
I think they probably could have eliminated one of the best friend subplots and been okay.
Yeah,
cut down a few.
Not only that, but like
convoluted.
What I would have done is gotten rid of the fucking Chow Yun-fat best friend, because he already he pulled the trigger on his best friend with no bullet in the chamber.
Yeah.
It's like, that guy's dead. You know what I mean? There's no coming back from that. But what happens? Like 5 seconds later, he's like, "You're my best friend forever." And I'm like, dude, this guy just tried to fucking kill you. He didn't know there was no bullet in that gun. You would have been dead.
Yeah.
Whereas like that other guy was an actual, like, he was on the beat with him through all of his shit. Like, I would have kept that guy, got rid of fucking, this turncoat motherfucker. Yeah, cut it out. Now arriving at Horizon Lunar Colony. Oh, yes. Thank you for the comment. Nice music. Let's see here. Main bad guy, Hitman, has his shotgun that's firing. He's, like, firing, like...
It's like explosive rounds.
Well, he fires the gun, and it, like... What hits the ground is like a line of practical fire effects. So he has a gun that shoots fire effects onto shit. Because it doesn't like blow shit up. It like fucking sets stuff on fire. So he's shooting like flamethrower rounds out of his shotgun. It's a badass gun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They use gunpowder from a shell to cauterize the main character's bullet wound. And I actually saw this on an episode of Dual Survival where Dave Canterbury like uses like black tar heroin, or not black tar heroin, fucking black powder, to cauterize a wound. It was pretty hardcore stuff. It like actually like, like blows up on his arm and shit. And I was like, damn, dude.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Rambo does the same thing in one of the Rambo movies.
Yeah, it is possible. It's just probably not advisable. Now they're friends. She's losing her eyesight. Yeah, I was like, they become friends pretty quick, and he kind of gives up on that wrestling him thing after a while.
Right.
He's just like, we're good.
He becomes the killer at the end.
Yeah, he becomes this guy's, like, henchman. He's like, I don't have a best friend anymore, so I'm going evil.
Right.
Well, not evil. He's like, they're fighting for their life, so they're not, like, evil. They're not going out and, like, killing fucking innocent people.
What did you think of the final church shootout?
Well, before that, the dude is getting his ass beat at like 1 minute and 30 while they're in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like cutting back and forth, and like the two best friends are like having the best time ever while his like one best friend is getting his ass beat. And then he's like, don't blame yourself for this, and then instantly gets shot in the back and dies. And I was like, and that's what starts the shootout. But both the killer and the police officer's friends died of the same bastards. It was bullshit. But yeah,
they basically become an army of two.
Yeah, for Xbox 360.
Yeah. Back to back.
Dovamania happens over here at 1 hour and 35 minutes and 40 seconds. There's like fucking a billion doves let loose in this fucking church, and then it's
Dovamania, Candlemania.
Yeah, candle. Yeah, true.
Then, the Virgin Mary statue gets blown away.
Yeah, that was like what the
ultimate
fuck?
sin.
Yeah. No more killing for he's like, for God's sakes, give in and come with me. And I said, this just has to be a dub thing, but it makes no fucking sense because they're surrounded by these bad guys that want both of them dead. So what's giving up gonna like do for the police officer? Is he gonna like take them out and they'll be like, okay, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, granted, like right after that, the guy's like, you think that's going to change anything? It also kind of like walks back what he said like earlier where he's like, I'm not going to take you in. It was like, I don't know. it was kind of like I think like with the dub they were kind of like just trying to throw some shit out there and it didn't make any sense.
I love in these shootouts where they introduce like aerial acrobatics, like Chow Yun-fat like launches through the air and like dudes get shot as they're flying through the air and stuff. I'm like, dude, so good.
Dumbo, here's he like throws him an SMG and he's like, thanks Mickey Mouse. Another line I'm pretty sure is dubbed, thanks Dumbo, I owe you. You don't owe me nothing. This is the power of friendship and good luck. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
True though.
There's one scene where they're like walking out and it's all smoky and it's like really like legit and stuff. Some of the henchmen, it like makes no sense. I mean, a lot of this doesn't make, it's whatever, it's an action film, but like there's a guy that's like on the roof of the fucking church as they're exiting. He's just waiting there. There are like guys there was a dude like hanging off the side of like a wall like a fucking gorilla. Like there was like, it was like this was like a video game essentially. It was
their job is to like stand there and get shot.
Yeah, it's like those gun games you would go to the arcade and play, and for some reason there'd be a guy like lurking behind a random barrel. But it was like 3 dudes like up on the rafters. It's like, but in addition to the dudes that are just walking in the front door and getting blown up, it was like, holy shit. Some stupid antics by them, but some good antics to watch.
Yep.
You want me dead or alive? If I have a say in it, neither. I'm like, what? You don't want him dead or alive? You want him existing like as like a never-ending state of dead and alive, like a vampire? Like I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? This was like another dub thing that I was like, huh? I was like, Bozo did it. Bozo did the dub. It was just like, this is so stupid. But it was pretty funny. Like, I mean, it shouldn't have been. Like, I'm pretty sure that this is a very serious part of the film, but like, stuff like that happened, and I was like, huh. I did put a note here. Not even going to get into the weird spots where some of the bad guys were, but I went ahead and did it anyway. Don't hurt her, you maniac. No, I won't hurt her. I'll blow her head off. I'm like, pretty sure that would hurt her quite a bit, but what the fuck? It's like when he's holding her up at the end of the fucking movie. Like, what does he say there? Do you know? Like, in your version?
I don't remember. It may have been that, but
yeah. Chow Yun-fat gets fucking blinded. How? Like, what are the odds on this? Like they don't even like show how it happens. He just like fucking gets bullets go in his direction, and his fucking face turns to fucking like.
It's like he gets his eyeball shot out.
Yeah. It's like It's like another. It's like the same thing when she got blinded. It's like makes no fucking sense.
That's where it becomes like a true melodrama.
Yeah.
They're like crawling around and they're both blind.
They're trying to find each other, but apparently they're also deaf because they're yelling for each other and they can't fucking locate each other on fucking sound alone somehow. But they end up like going just past each other and fucking Mickey Mouse dies before fucking they get to like embrace, which is sad. It's a
surprising ending.
For
sure.
It was a surprise. He straight up reams the bad guy at the end. He's like, take me in, I fucking did it, I'm guilty. And he's like, you're dead, motherfucker. And he like shoots him in the fucking heart or something. And
that was pretty cool.
I put here, movie ends on the version in a video game if you pick all the worst choices. For like the fucking the guys. It's like the killer gets reamed and like I'm assuming Jennie's fine, but she's like I guess maybe
I don't think she's gonna get her eyes, dude.
Yeah, my thing is like at that point I think her eyes were already it was too late for her to get the operation because what happened is like they're in the church and it's completely like lit up by candles somehow, and like she's like, why did they turn the lights off? And they both look at each other and they're like, she's fucked.
Ooh.
Yeah. They go, ooh. And then that pretty much just says, she's fucked at that point, Sorry. But she was gonna get a cornea replacement for both eyes, which ain't happening anymore. And but he said, I want you to take care of her if something happens to me. But at this point, it's like, you know, I don't think that she's...
Good luck with that. He's going directly to jail, dude.
Yeah. Fuck that. He's going directly to jail! They're just gonna, like, burn him alive, like in fucking, what's that one movie with Christian Bale, where, like, he makes to the thing just in time to see the lady burn to death?
Oh, Batman.
What? Oh, yeah, that does happen in that movie. No, I meant the one we watched, with, Sean.
Oh, Reign of...
Yeah.
Oh, Equilibrium.
Yeah. I was like, what? And then I thought, you're right. The call was coming from inside the house.
Does every Christian Bale movie feature people getting roasted?
Depending on who they are. What were you saying, though? Or what were you going to say?
Were you... I mean, were you surprised that basically all the main characters, like, fail in their mission, and it's a tragic ending?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of was, because, like, usually in action films, like, depending on who's making it, the good guy comes out on top, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Kind of like in Skyfall, where Bond had one mission to protect M, and he failed.
I was like, when he failed, I was like, hell yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. It was one of those things where it was like, this is kind of fucked up, but it's also kind of like, I don't know. I guess I should be more like pissed about it, but I don't really care. I mean, I kind of, you know, I was emotional about it, like, you know, like I wanted them to be together, I guess, but at the same time, it was like, you know, these characters for me aren't like fucking, you know, Superman or like Goku over here. They're not like my bread and butter. They're like some dudes I just met in this film, and everybody in the films became best friends within like 5 minutes, so it wasn't super realistic. But having said that, I mean, it was different. Like I said, I mean, in most movies, like especially action films, like the hero comes out on top and blows everybody away and fucking says his one-liner, and the dude, like the bad guy, blows up or something at the end of the movie. I don't know. What did you think when you first saw this?
I was surprised for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it, like things like that, and the little touches like seeing the Virgin Mary statue explode,
mm-hmm.
or like makes this movie more like artistic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think that contributes to why this movie is so highly regarded. But I like it. I'm always up for something different.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really do anything for me, but it also doesn't take away from it. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of those things where I was like, if they kill a character, fuck them. You know what I mean? I'm not like, fuck this movie because they did this, but I think it was, I think to me, like, the blinding and then him being killed was kind of a weird choice, because it's like they already used that tactic once in the film. And that was kind of questionable how it happened in the first place. And the second time, it was just outright made zero sense. So for me, I kind of looked at that and was like, I don't think they really earned that. But having said that, I think overall, like, I mean, the action was where it was at in the film. And, you know, if they had maybe, like, cut out not quite a bit of this film, but, like, cut out, like, certain things about it, I probably would have liked it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just kind of, like, dragged, and, like, my problem, like, with the action scenes weren't really that, you know, they were awesome, but it was, like, I think that, like, the problem was they just, like, they didn't happen, like, quite enough for me to really, like, because I knew, like, when I got the action scenes, they were going to be over quicker than, you know, like, anything else in the film. So it was good to see them, but it was just kind of, they were done, and I was like, well, shit, man.
That's the greatness of Hard Boiled, because they do happen often, and they go on for so long. It's like it's like you can't believe what's happening.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do like Drunken Master sometime, because that's one of my. I think that's probably up there as one of the best action films of all time for me.
Yep.
Because
agreed.
Well, it's got Jackie Chan in it, so.
Well, Probably his maybe best movie.
Yeah.
Definitely top 5.
That and like Spy or whatever. The Tuxedo. God, I watched that film and I was like, fuck my life.
Shanghai Nights.
Yeah, it's Shanghai Noon. Stop right there, Rathboner. So I have some ending thoughts here. Kind of a bit longer for something like this, like I said earlier. I don't think it helped that I watched the dub version. Like, I don't know, I think the sub version would have been better, but I've seen stuff like that's great that's dubbed. Like nowadays, anything that's dubbed, like any of the Studio Ghibli films, I watched those first dubbed and I can't watch them sub now because the dubbed is like the dub version is so good that they, you know, it was like when they first started really giving a shit about dubs and stuff, and it was like it's just as good as the subtitle version, the original language version, in my opinion. But it's like back, you know, in the 80s, like 89, if you got this film, like eventually, like when this came out dubbed, I'm sure it was years later, but, you know, I'm sure they weren't really giving a shit. You know, not like they did a horrible job, but it was like, they would always get like, for the women especially, like they would always get like the most like squawky ladies. Like there was a lady earlier in the film that was like talking to this one dude in the stairwell, and it's like she was just like going on, and it was like the most grating shit ever. And I was like, good lord, dude. But great action. I like the premise. It's just, I feel like it's been done better in other films, kind of, if that makes sense. With like, you know, like
better in other John Woo films.
That's true, yeah. I mean, John Woo's made better films himself. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any ending thoughts on that or on the film?
No, I think we covered it.
What would you give it?
What's your rating?
Oh,
I'm gonna go 8.95. I mean, movies like this are why I love movies. So even like a middle tier John Woo is like better than any other movie in my opinion. So
okay,
great movie.
I personally wouldn't go that far, but I do agree that it was like pretty good. I give it like a 7.95. I almost gave it a 6, but I'm like, the action was good enough to bump it up.
Yep.
I like how I picked this film and I kind of shit on it, but you know, whatever. I've never seen it before, and I was just interested to see how it was. It's like the more I think about
it's a movie you have to see.
Yeah.
Like it's a must see for sure. So
yeah, you don't have to like it, but
yeah.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, like, you know, I liked fucking what's it called? That movie with Terry Silver more than I like this, but only because excessive force. But you know what that is though, because like for me, I know for you it's like all about the action, and I liked the action in this, but like that couldn't like it couldn't like stop the fucking dog shit fucking dialogue and like plot to a degree, in my opinion. But I mean, whatever.
You'll have to watch it again in a few years and watch the subtitle version.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, I mean, it can't be understated like how great Chow Yun-fat is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Chow Yun-fat's legit. I'm sure. I mean, all the other people, I'm sure, were great. You know, are great too. It was just kind of like this. You know, cut out like 30 or 40 minutes of this fucking film and come back to me with like something that's actually keep all the action, cut out some of the dog shit.
Have it on my desk by Monday.
Yeah. Well, it's like, why the fuck would you watch an action film that was like longer than like 90 minutes or less, in my opinion? Anyway, go ahead. What is your weird watch for next week?
Deadly Games from 1995.
Headley Games?
Deadly Games.
Deadly or Headley? Sorry.
Deadly.
Deadly. Okay. It's like you kept cutting out, and I was like, I'm like, you're like, let's watch this porno called Headley Games. I'm like, okay. So Deadly Games. Then what's your feature presentation? Do you think this is something I would ever be able to guess, or is this like fucking Action Jackson or whatever?
No. I'm gonna break all the rules with this next pick. Because number one, I'm gonna pick something I've never seen before. And number two, I'm gonna pick a comedy.
Oh shit.
When it came out, it was a huge flop. Everyone hated it. Over the years, I think it's been reevaluate it a little bit, and some people say no, it's actually good, but we'll find out for ourselves when we watch Ishtar from 1987.
Never heard of this film before.
I apologize in advance if it's not good. I don't know much about it other than it was like one of the most biggest flops of its time.
The only thing that comes up when I search for Ishtar was Ishtar, called the Queen of Heaven by the people of ancient Mesopotamia, modern Iraq, was the most important female deity in their pantheon. So I guess we're going to do a review of the god Ishtar.
Starring Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman.
It's fucking no names. Just kidding.
Yeah, we'll see.
Warren
Like
Beatty's
I said,
been on our podcast before.
It might be a hidden gem. It might be horrible. But we're going to find out.
Shit. Charles Grodin's in it too.
Oh, is he?
That's what it says.
Wow. It'd be great.
Yeah. This is interesting. I've never heard of this film before, but I guess that's why I like doing the podcast, because like a lot of the shit that I've picked I've never heard of, or never watched. Like The Killer, I'd never watched that. I probably never would watch it by myself, you know what I mean, if given the chance, because I don't know. I don't really watch movies by myself. Or not by myself. I'm too scared. But it's just nice to be able to watch something that you normally wouldn't see. So cool, man. Next week we're gonna watch Deadly Games and Ishtar. I think we're gonna be same bat channel, same bat time, Thursday 6 p.m. And then if nothing goes wrong after that, we're gonna go back to in-persons on Saturdays. Does that sound like the plan to you?
Yep.
Okay. Well, check us out on Steak Belmont 64 on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course, Twitch and YouTube. The episodes go up every Tuesday on YouTube. And, do you have anything to say, little Willy Wing?
I have one thing that I just have to say.
Let the audience... No.